Dear students, today we are going to start a very interesting chapter and very important too, and that is the change of voice. Generally, there are two ways to express an action of a subject in relation to its object. Remember one thing, this relation in between the subject and the object and the action, the way the action is being performed or is getting performed by the subject, this relation is actually what we call voice. So regarding this relation, we can classify it into two groups. One is active voice, another is passive one. Next, come to the first one, that is active voice. In active voice sentences, the subject performs the action stated by the verb. Suppose, let me tell you one thing. First of all, what is written there? He sings a song. Which is the verb here? Sings. You question it with who, the answer is he, which is the very subject. You question it with what, the answer is a song, which is again the object. So, here the subject, he, is directly performing the action. Remember one thing, suppose here I am teaching you and you are listening to me, and suppose you are live in the morning classes. In the morning class, you were live. I was taking your live online class. So right then, whatever I was telling, that was being told by me directly. So there, I, being the subject, I was active, and you could see me in action. You could experience me in action. But right now, when I'm teaching it, I will reschedule it, I will prune the video, and then I will upload it in the YouTube, and then you will watch it in the YouTube. So there, remember, whatever you will watch in the YouTube platform, that is, you are watching me doing something passively, because I am not alive. I am never alive there. I am only telling now whatever I am telling, and I am recording it, and later you will watch it, keeping it in mind as if I am teaching it to you. So in the first instance, whatever I did, that was actively done, which is active voice. And in the second instance, when you will watch this video in the YouTube, that will be something which I will be doing passively, not actively. That's what active and passive voice. Subject is directly taking part in the action, that is active. Subjective is indirect, that is what we call passive. So let's come to the next slide. It is written that active voice means it refers to the arrangements of the subject and object in a sentence along with the change in the tense in the clause. See, change will be there, means in active voice and passive voice, in both the cases, in both the instances, change will be there, and that change will be according to the clause, the tense of the clause which is there attached with the sentence. Later you will learn it by and by. Suppose I am telling you, it is written the student finished the exercise. Here, finished the exercise, that is written in past. The action had happened past. It is not in present. It is neither continuously being done, not in past, not in present, but something which has been done in past. So, according to the tense also, we have to add some auxiliaries, some other things. We have to arrange the verb, subject, object, auxiliaries in a way that goes parallel with the tense that is associated with the clause in the change of voice or in the sentence which you are about to change. Now, what is passive? Passive is something, in general it is written, that active voice makes you writing stronger, more direct, and you guessed it, more active. Subject is something, or it does the action or the verb in the sentence. With the passive voice, the subject is acted upon. Means subject is not the doer actively. He is not taking part in action actively. Rather, the subject is taking part in action from an indirect point of view. So the subject is acted upon by some other performer of the verb. In case you weren't paying attention, the previous two sentences use the type of voice they describe. Yes, I told you. I told it to you there also here. The student finished the exercise and it was written he sings a song. Depends. And if I see a song is sung by him or the exercise was finished by the student, in that case you could understand what I told and what is written there. So, but the passive voice is not incorrect. In fact, there are times when it can come in handy. And we have already written there later how these things will come handy for you and how to use them in a different way. So passive voice, it is written that subject is acted upon, what I told earlier, by the verb. Swami helps Asad, that is active voice. Once you write Asad is helped by Swami, that is passive. Why? Who is the helper? Swami is the helper. Is Swami there in the second sentence in the subject position? No. But he is actually the doer and he is sitting at the object position. So he is taking part in the game, taking part in the action in an indirect way. That is why we can call it something that is passive. Understood what I told? I think you have. See, in the first sentence again I am reiterating. Swami helps Asad. Who is the subject? Swami is the subject. Swami is directly helping Asad and verb is exactly sitting juxtapositionally with the subject. Means it is sitting side by side exactly after the subject. So we can understand here that Swami is the doer and after doer there is the action, which means it is active. Once you find the subject means the doer and the action juxtaposed, then it will be an active voice. Now see in the second sentence, Asad is not the doer, but it is still sitting at the subject position, but it is not actually the doer. Doer is Swami, but Swami is not sitting in the subject position, it is in object position. That is the reason we are calling it indirect subject or indirect object. See, this Swami is actually helping, but he is not directly doing. This Swami, he is helping, but he is not directly doing. Here, he is indirectly taking part in the action. That is help. That is why we can call it passive voice. Okay? So, how to use and what are the uses of active and passive voice? The active voice is mostly used in writing because it gives a direct and more concise meaning. Of course, whenever you are telling something in passive, means you are telling it indirectly, means you are beating about the bush. You are going here and there. You are not coming to the point directly. You are moving to and fro, which you should not. So you try to prefer telling something actively in active voice. Passive, there are certain occasions where it is written, but there are particular occasions when it should be used. If in our general communication, suppose I am asking you that did you do it? If you say no sir, I did not do it, then it is a direct answer. But if you say that no sir, it was not done by me, which means you are actually humiliating me by replying me in an indirect way. So never ever answer your superior in an indirect way or use any kind of passive voice while you are replying to your superior. Remember this thing. Passive voice is also used sometimes. See, it is written that when intentionally hiding the subject of the sentence. I told you, women were not treated as usuals, as equals. By whom? Of course, by the men. So you are directly not telling that you men, you did not treat women equally. You are telling it in an indirect way, making a harsh fact lesson. You are eulogizing it. So when passive voice better explains thought of sentence, like see, like it is written, cloth is sold in yards. Now you don't need to tell it that the tailors sell the cloth in yards. Rather, you can say the cloth is sold in years. You can also sell it. So here the expression is clearer than if you say that a tailor sells cloth in years. It is something ambiguous. Again, that person, the listener, will have to know the meaning of tailor, what is its profession, and so many other things. So your job is to know, and your intention is to know how the cloth is sold in yards, in meters, or in any other unit of length, in yards. So this is the best expression for your query. Next one is when subject is not exactly known. Yes. Suppose his watch was stolen. Do you know who stole it? No. If you knew it, you would catch it. You would catch that person. You would inform the police that this person had stolen my watch. So there is a thief, and we don't know particularly who is the thief. So thief will of course steal something. This is the job of them, and this is the thing we call a thief. They steal something. Steal means you are taking something from me without informing about it. Without your prior permission, you are doing something. That is when you are doing something that we call stealing. So his watch was stolen by whom? By a thief, we all know. But do you know that particularly who is the thief? No. That is why we are not writing it by a thief, because thief does not denote a particular person. Thief denotes a kind of person who takes something from others without their permission. This is the reason we are writing it in passive sense. We are not mentioning it subject, because subject is not needed here. We don't know who is the doer. The particular person who did it, we don't know. That is the reason we are writing it in passive sense. So always remember that whenever you write all these things, whenever you use it, it is better you know why you are using it, which are the context you have to use active and passive voice, and which are the context that can best express your intention when you have to use either active or passive voice. Once you know it, where to use it and how to use it, then it will be very nice for you, and your writing will be more effective. See, only getting acquainted with the rules of active and passive voice will not give you anything that will help you to enrich your writing, because you know that something that it is done following these rules. But you need to know when to use it. Suppose you are answering a teacher, I was beaten, or it was not done by me, which I told you some couple of minutes earlier. It will not sound, I should say, proper, because the teacher might think that you are answering him or her in an indirect way, thereby humiliating him or her direct order. So we know that you know how to change the voice, how to write passive voice, but if you do not know where to use it, then it will be an utter failure for you to get acquainted with all the rules. So you have to do it simultaneously. On one hand, you have to know when to use it, and on the other hand, you have to know how to use it. In both cases, you have to be perfect. Only then your writing will have effect on the examiner. So that's all for today, students. We will go deeper into this subject by and by, and I hope you will help me, because without your help, all my efforts will go in vain. So I need your active participation, active help. Only then I can teach you better, and both of us can exchange our knowledge which we have gathered. So that's all for today, students.